Hello guys, I'm back with another video for you today, and this time I'm going to be checking out some decks that I've been making, the first of which is going to be the Overwhelming Swain deck. Now as always, there will be a link in the description if you want to find this deck yourself, if you want to try it out, and there will of course be timestamps in the description as well, which can skip you ahead if you want to skip the intro. I'm going to talk about some of the cards and why I've included them, and then we'll head into some gameplay and I can explain how the deck works while playing some games. But really the concept behind this deck is to keep all of your opponents' units and a lot of their strategy, keep that down, really suppress what they're trying to do, while developing your own side of the board a little bit, and really you're trying to level up the Swain and the Sejuani, your two champions. They're your two kind of finisher later game players that really do count, along with a few other cards like the Leviathan, for example, which we'll get into talking about in a little bit. But you really want to level these guys up, and the best way to do that, they have very similar level up conditions, Swain being non-combat damage being dealt, and Sejuani's being damage to the Nexus being dealt. So really, you want to be damaging a lot of things, and quite often damaging the opponent's Nexus. So we have a deck that is kind of built to do that with a lot of the cards. Now particularly some of the key ones here are going to be Ember Maidens, which deal 1 to everything, 1 damage, at the start of every round. So that includes the opponent's Nexus, the entire board of units. That's going to really quickly activate your Swain, very quickly activate Sejuani as well, get those level ups, and of course you get some big, beefy, powerful effects when those guys get leveled up. Swain is going to be Nexus striking, killing everything, stunning the opponent's units every turn potentially. Sejuani is going to frostbite everything when you're dealing damage with board damage effects or with the Leviathan. So really, really powerful once you get these guys leveled up. They're going to really deny the opponent from doing anything, force them to be on the back foot, and close out the game for you. So yeah, we're doing that with Ember Maiden. Avalanche as well, very good control tool to reset the board. It also has, both of these cards have a great deal of synergy with Crimson Disciple, which I'm playing 3 copies of. Very, very powerful 2-drop. It allows you to put pressure on early, damaging the enemy Nexus. Great synergy with Avalanche and Ember Maiden. And also Imperial Demolitionist, which I'm running 2 of. Can be a little bit awkward to get value from these sometimes, but on Disciples and on other units, they're pretty good, just for a little bit more cheeky damage. Remember, every time you damage the Nexus with this deck, you're going to get your Swain, your Sejuani kind of increased in those levels, and it's just going to bring you closer to reaching those thresholds. So that's kind of why they're there. They're there to protect you in the early game, deal some damage, a little bit of aggression potentially if you need it as well. You can rush down the opponent a little bit with the Disciples, with Demolitionists, but if you also have Ember Maidens, Avalanche, you can reset the board while also activating your Sejuani, your Swain, and getting those guys online very quickly. So they're all there to make things go well. Now we also have Elixirs of Iron to kind of protect Ember Maiden, keep them around for a bit longer hopefully, but usually you're not too sad if the Ember Maiden just comes down, does 2 damage to everything and then dies and kills itself. Not the end of the world if that happens. So that's really there just to activate your Swain, bit of synergy with some of your cards, and kind of control the opponent's board and shut down aggro decks which might be trying to rush you with a lot of low health units. So there's a lot of other cards that fit with this theme. We have Death's Hand. This is going to deal some damage to enemy units, going to be able to control a little bit, deal with elusive guys that are quite difficult to take out. Got that damage there, got some Nexus damage as well to activate Sejuani's ability, her level up condition. And we've got more control with Culling Strike, with Ravenous Flock. Now, interestingly, this deck doesn't have any units, and that's because Elixir of Iron and the Flocks are very good 1-drops. So skipping your turn 1 and banking that 1 mana in the turn 1 allows you to just play these effectively for free later on in the game, which can lead to some really nice sort of 2, 3, 4 combos. And one that I really like to do with this deck is Crimson Disciple on turn 2. You've banked the 1 mana from turn 1, so you have 1 spell mana available. You go Crimson Disciple into Ember Maiden on the next round, potentially buffing the Ember Maiden with Elixir of Iron. You can also do this with Starlight Seer or Starlit Seer, which will also start buffing things in your deck if you start using the spells like the Elixir, for example. So one of these 2-drops into an Ember Maiden for, pretty good synergy. And then on 4, we have Wolf Rider. And this guy will activate if you've already played an Ember Maiden the turn before and done that damage in this round. So you'll have your Plunder activated. This will allow you to play the Wolf Rider and gain an empty mana gem, which is effectively ramping you up gaining you more mana than you should have for the future rounds. And that's going to allow you to get out your really powerful cards, your Sejuani, your Leviathan. You're going to be able to get those out into the game very soon, very early. And we should talk about the Leviathan a little bit here because it's very, very powerful. It's effectively dealing 3 damage to the enemy nexus every round start. So you can imagine that gets out of control pretty quickly. You start dealing effectively 6 damage every couple of turns. And of course it damages itself when it attacks with the Overwhelm ability. Draws you a Swain on top of that. Really, really powerful card here and sort of your finisher for the deck along with the big champions. We've got the Hearthguard as well to buff all your allies up. This allows you your Trifarian Assessor to be a lot better. It will get 5 strength, if you pull it out the deck after playing Hearthguard, and that will mean it triggers itself, so you can draw a lot of cards with this potentially. Your Wolf Riders will also become 5 strength. Your Swain, once it's leveled up, will become 5 strength. So you're going to get a lot of value out of your Trifarian Assessor, and the Babbling Bjerg is there to guarantee these kind of combos. This Hearthguard is more likely to be in your hand if you play a Babbling Bjerg. So there's some nice combos going on there. You're going to be able to kind of play the early game with a lot of smaller, cheaper units, and then once you roll into your 5s and 6s, then you're going to be putting out a lot of power and able to draw back all the cards that you've used with the Assessor. So really nice stuff, finishing the game out with these powerful, powerful controlling cards and really shutting your opponent down. For me, it's been working very, very well, and it took some time to optimize this, but it's very fun and very strong. So let's jump into some games and see how it plays. Alright, going to be jumping in. Ranked has just come out, so we'll be climbing through the early ranks as we get going here. And looks like the opponent's playing a bit of an Ezreal Twisted Fate deck. That should be quite interesting. Maybe a lot of spell synergy and things like that. So alright, we've got a pretty decent kind of early couple of plays here. I do want to get rid of the Hearthguard and the Bjerg, I think. I mean, the Hearthguard's pretty good on 5, but I do really want to find a 2-drop if I can. And maybe even a 1-mana spell to help with the Maiden here. But we've got the 3/4 Maiden play, which is pretty solid, pretty solid. So we can just kind of save up some mana and maybe use a Death's Hand. We've drawn into that, so that's quite nice. Oh, we did find the 2-drop. That's really good for me. So I'll play the Starlit Seer now. And then we can play Ember Maiden next, probably. Although we can consider not going for that, depending on how it goes. Okay. He's not going to have too many units, so the Ember Maiden might end up just dying. Which would be annoying, but not the end of the world. I'm going to go and play it anyway. We just really want to get the Plunder activated for the Wolf Rider, and it looks like we're going to be able to attack in here. So we're getting some nice damage early on as well. Going to help us to close out the game with the Leviathan later on. Alright. So my Plunder will be activated now on Wolf Rider, so I'm probably going to go ahead and play that this round. Twisted Fate is probably... yeah, he's just going to kill my my Ember Maiden. That's okay. We could consider the Death's Hand on the Twisted Fate, but I don't think I need to do that. I'll just let this play happen. And then go for my Wolf Rider to really get the ramp value. So we're going to be on 6 mana next turn, so we might even go with Sejuani. Otherwise we're just getting up to those high mana counts as soon as possible. And of course getting a board on, a unit on the board as well. Really, really nice stuff. So I think here we'll probably go ahead and play Sejuani. It's just a good play. We can deal with this Twisted Fate and deal some face damage using the Overwhelm. Yeah, it's just playing on curve. I could play the Hearthguard as well there, but it's a little bit weaker of a play, and it's going to mean we're not able to kill the Twisted Fate as easily anyway. I could maybe use a spell or something to do that. Alright, so let's just attack in. We could, and we probably should, use the Wolf Rider to kill the Twisted Fate here, just because it's, otherwise he can trade his unit into my Wolf Rider and kill it. Probably want to keep both units on the board if we can. We'll do the attack. He might be able to kill Sejuani with a spell, plus the Chump Wump block, which would be a little bit of a shame, but we're still going to have a pretty strong board in comparison to him. Okay, he's going to rummage, have a look for some cards here. And going to make it rain as well, okay. Not going to do too much, just, you know, 1 damage to our guys. They're still going to live for now. And also deal some damage there. So, nearly getting the level up on this Sejuani. Won't happen just yet. And how far is our Swain? He's not done too much because he hasn't had a big board to damage. Alright, just going to be a static shock, that's fine. That's totally okay. We might have to float some mana here, but that's okay. We can bank it as spell mana and use it later. But let's play the Hearthguard now. And, you know, the Assessor is going to become quite good, potentially. We've also got another Wolf Rider if we want to ramp. It's a bit late to do any more gaining of mana crystals, but that might still be a worthwhile thing to do. So here I could just deal 9 damage, and it feels pretty good to do that, but I think it could also be quite nice to... yeah, maybe that's the way here. Just go for the damage, then play the Bjerg and the Wolf Rider. I'm a bit scared of going too long against this deck, so maybe playing Babbling Bjerg first is good, but nah. Let's just get the guaranteed damage before he can play a unit. We might play something that can block my guys. Might make it a little bit more difficult. And, you know, if he's on 3 HP, that's a really good threshold for him to be on, because the Leviathan can then very easily finish him off. Alright, so he's just going to deal a bit of damage. That's not a problem. We're still going to get the Plunder activation here. Because Ezreal is getting leveled up pretty quickly, but we'll play the Wolf Rider and the Babbling Bjerg. And that should put us in a pretty nice spot. And we have another Sejuani, which is almost activated actually. So we definitely have a much stronger board, we have more mana available right now as well, and our hand is not running out of steam anytime soon. We have the Assessor, which can be very useful here. Alright, there's a Twisted Fate. I think we'll just play Death's Hand here to kill him. Not gonna lose any sleep over that play. And that'll allow our Sejuani to level up. And Swain is gonna get a bit closer. As I said, we haven't really had a chance to level him up this game, because he's more the anti-aggro kind of card, along with avalanches and, you know, and that stuff. But we're in a really nice spot here. I mean, right now we're probably just winning. We can play a Starlit Seer. Don't want to overcommit to the board too much. There's probably no way he can kill everything, but, you know, don't need to play everything just yet. It's looking like we're probably just going to win. Okay. So I guess we can just play the Swain now. I don't really want to commit the Sejuani this round, even though it is pretty good here because it's got the level up available. I'd rather save it because you can give a unit vulnerable and frostbite, and then challenge them to a fight when you're attacking. Can't do that if you're, you know, the defensive player. Okay. We'll just float this 3 mana in case we need it for spells, but at this point I think the game is probably going to be over. Pretty soon anyway. It might be correct to just, you know, overwhelm him here with, you know, the, pardon the pun, with the Sejuani, with the, you know, Assessor maybe. But I think for now, you can probably just play a Hearthguard and just put a bunch of units on the board. And then attack in with a full board. The Assessor's going to draw us 2 cards here, fill up our hand a little bit. I'm going to hold on to the Sejuani just in case we need that later. The Frostbite right now not going to be too useful. Okay, so he's going to stun. Going to stun the Hearthguard that we just played. That's not too much of a problem. We'll play the Assessor now, draw some more cards. Okay, and we're finding some damage as well. That's pretty useful. So we can play a Death's Hand here to get us closer to leveling Swain and, you know, make it easier to push through here. So here I suppose we can kill the 3-2. There's not too much benefit to killing Twisted Fate at this point. The 3-2 can block my Swain, whereas TF can't, so this might make his blocking a little bit more difficult, but I think we've guaranteed got the win here. Just too many units for him to deal with at this point. And our deck is very comfortable playing into the late game. So we're just going to attack with everything that we can. It should be a pretty easy win. Didn't take too much damage, didn't really run out of fuel. We still had a Bjerg to draw, we still had our Sejuani leveled up and ready to roll. Deck just has a lot of good value, a lot of very good strong cards. Alright, so we're going to be taking the win. Good way to start things off. Alright. So we didn't get the Swain level up, but it wasn't really needed. We just managed to brute force it down. We're still in the kind of meager ranks, but we'll watch these climb up very quickly, I'm sure. Let's jump into another game and see if we can win again. Alright, bit of an interesting start to that one. Didn't get the normal loading screen, but what can you do? So we've got a Nautilus Twisted Fate deck. That's interesting. We'll definitely want to kind of smork this down if we can. So Wolf Rider not going to be too useful here. We probably won't get the Plunder effect off on curve. We can keep the Elixir though. Probably be okay. 2 Elixirs not quite as useful, but... Okay, don't have too much going on in our hand right now. Hopefully that won't become a problem for the deep shenanigans. Alright. Could just kill that with Death's Hand, or we can play the Demolitionist. I think I'll play Demolitionist. We lose out on the play effect, but just getting that down on curve is pretty reasonable. An Ember Maiden with double Elixir is pretty good potentially here to get our Swain leveled up. Okay. A lot of elixirs, so we can probably just play the Ember Maiden, push some damage through here, use Elixir as a combat trick if we need to. And we'll see where to go from there. Gonna just be some salvage, some draw, some toss. Gonna take him quite a while to get down to that deep threshold. We would like to do a lot of stuff before then to have the best chance of winning. Just gonna block the Maiden. Of course we can boost it with the Elixir now. And that will keep it alive. Keep it alive for the next round when it normally would be dying. So kind of damaging our own units, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because it does get our Swain closer to leveling. I'm really dissuading him from playing anything with the Maiden on board. If only this were a Crimson Disciple, we'd be getting a pretty good amount of damage here. Alright. So I wonder, is it worth just allowing this to die? I think it probably is at this point, but I'll kill the Twisted Fate. I don't have any other way to spend my mana this round, so we'll just lock that in now. Ember Maiden not doing too much here, not against aggro, so not doing too much other than helping to level the Swain up, but that's a pretty reasonable thing for it to be doing. The sooner we get to that, the better. The opponent's got not much mana left, so we should be good to get the Swain out next turn. Gonna be a pretty big threat if he can't block it. Of course the Fearsome might cause problems for him. Difficult for things to block him. And really want to get to that leveled up stage. We're a little bit away, you know, at the moment from that. Okay, opponent is tossing quite a lot, so going to be getting down to that 15 card threshold pretty soon. Really want to dish out some nice damage before then. Get the Swain down.
Lead us to victory, Grand General.
And then Sejuani next turn is a pretty good one to have. We've got a lot of combat tricks to potentially keep Swain alive if we need. And then Sejuani next turn maybe. I mean, it's not ideal. Kind of got the short end of the stick with the attacking timings here. We'd much rather be attacking on the second turn, on even turns. That allows us to a Sejuani on 6, very good value, and a 4 mana rider guy as well. But okay, that's good for us. We're going to get the attack through, which I'm happy to see. And we can potentially use an elixir here to keep our Demolitionist alive. Not sure if that'll be worth doing here. We'll see. Swain's going to deal some pretty nice damage, and he's nearly leveled up, so, you know, all we have to do is deal a bit of damage with a spell or with some other unit. He's actually going to go with the Riptide here, okay. In that case, I think I'll probably spend an elixir here. I want to keep as much on my board as possible just to have a bit more pressure. Because with deep, you really do want to pressure them out as quickly as possible. But right now we have a much stronger board than the opponent. Obviously we're down in cards, so it's a bit of a disadvantage, but some pretty good units on our board, and you know, we've got follow-up plays as well here. Shouldn't run out of steam too much, although Ravenous Flock isn't too great of a draw. We want to be finding some of our bigger units, but not the end of the world. Just to have some time to do that. And the Sejuani here, in response to whatever he plays, is quite nice to stop his attack. We can also save it for next turn though, if we want. Could bank some mana now and go for that. He's going to go with some more card draw. And now he has turned deep, which is pretty scary. But we, you know, not the end of the world for us. There's definitely things we can do to mitigate that. Okay, so I think I'm going to hold on to my Sejuani actually for now. I'd like to use her to kind of push through in this next round. I'm going to bank the mana. I'm hoping I can maybe catch a Nautilus by surprise. Okay, interesting. I think I'm actually going to play my Ravenous Flock here. Reasoning being just, I want that out of the hand. I don't think it's going to be too good, and I can get some damage on my Swain so that he's almost leveled up. A level up will be really nice if we can get that. At this point we're kind of looking for the Leviathan to really help us actually finish out the game. Because without the level ups we're a little bit lacking power. Especially if he's going to have Nautilus and sea monsters coming. Let's just take the pass now. Alright, so here we can just go with the Swain attack, and I think we're going to do that. It's fearless, or fearsome rather, so he'll be able to hit the Nexus and get his ability off. So he's going to deal 7 damage with Scrap Shot. We can actually just deny the kill there. I think that's definitely worth it. And that was his whole turn, so that's really good for us actually. He's going to have some scary sea monsters coming, but not just yet, and we're going to get the level up on Swain, which is really good. Plus he's, you know, quite low health now. Can consider potentially playing Ember Maiden now. I think I like that as a play here. Over the Sejuani. It will mean we get another Sejuani activation, so when she comes out she'll be actually leveled up, which is quite important. And I really do want to get that ability value from her, where you can pull in a Frostbite unit. This might seem like a bit of a weird play, but I think it's the way forward here. Just getting the Sejuani level up is quite key. We can maybe play it this round even. Can also start stunning things maybe with Swain once we replay him after he dies. So we're kind of running out of steam a little bit, but at the same time our power is online, so we might not have too many cards to play, but they're at least going to be very strong. And you know, so will his for sure. That's a pretty nasty Devour, for example, but not the end of the world. We've got another Swain here, and I think we will play that actually over the Sejuani. No Nautilus, so we're not really too scared. And even if he did have Nautilus, it would be quite expensive, so he wouldn't be able to play, you know, too much of the other scary stuff. Let's just skip the block for now. And we will take a pass. So the Ember Maiden's going to actually allow us to just punch through immediately with the Swain here, because it does stun the Devourer here. Now the question is this going to be, you know, enough pushing through with the Swain here to win us the game, or should we actually play the Sejuani? And I think probably playing the Sejuani here is a little bit better. Just gives us the opportunity to potentially win here and now.
Fight for your lives.
With that overwhelm coming in. It's definitely getting a bit scary. Once Nautilus comes down, then things can be quite nasty, but the opponent might feel like they don't have time to make that play. Kind of just hoping we don't see it. But there's maybe ways we can mitigate that from being too bad for us. You know, Leviathan can potentially just win us the game. Alright, so he's just going to stun us out here. Not really a problem. We're just going to allow that to go through. And then we're going to attack with Swain. Not going to pull in the vulnerable unit there, because we want to hit his face and deal the damage. And he's almost going to be dead, so I think we can actually finish him off with the Death's Hand, regardless, really. Assuming we can find a unit to kill with it, but actually you don't even need to kill a unit. I'm pretty sure the Swain does damage to the Nexus, right? With the ability. Wouldn't really make much sense if he didn't. So yeah, we should be finishing him off here. Yeah, that's gonna be it. Unless he has some way to heal, but I don't think he does. Not very likely. Yeah, okay. So we'll just take the win with the Death's Hand then. A little bit of a slower one, a clunkier match here against the deep guys. And if he had Nautilus a bit earlier, then it might have been difficult for us. But I think you're always going to have that with this kind of a more control-y deck. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope the gameplay was enjoyable and you maybe learnt a thing or two. Do try out the deck if you want. It's quite expensive, so I'm not sure I would recommend it. There's probably other things you can play that are a bit cheaper if you're looking for free-to-play options, and I'll post some more videos and whatnot with that kind of thing in the coming days, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Good luck out there, and I'll see you next time. Bye.